You are watching the Deadfoot Diver Podcast with Kurt, the Deadfoot Diver.
So, first of all, if you don't mind me asking, I know
Mhm.
that you've had a lot of experience working with disabled divers.
Mhm.
So, can you tell me about that?
Oh, I mean, honestly, we all have different disabilities and abilities, right? So for me, it's just an extension of the realization that scuba is personal. Like when it comes to fit for equipment and strategies for how to solve problems, there are lots of unique solutions that are right for somebody's different body proportions or someone's different level of abilities or flexibility or whatever. So when it comes to diving, I think that instruction and support and buddying is a personal thing. And so for me, it's really exciting to help people who have maybe more challenges than I do or unique challenges that just need to be overcome. Because once we're beneath the surface, it doesn't matter like what gender, what color, what political background, what, level of ability. We are all able to float, neutrally buoyant in paradise.
Yeah, that's true. So, can you tell me about I know that you've had a chance to actually work with some amazing
Mhm.
disabled divers who are
Yeah.
doing extreme technical diving way beyond probably what I will ever even attempt to do. So, can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, for me, it's exciting. It's a learning opportunity when someone's able to like authentically share the challenges that they expect that they'll have underwater. And what I've discovered is actually most of the challenges are just getting ready for the dive. Whether it's getting into a suit or whatever, needing some sort of assistance to get in the water. Once you're in the water, you're home free.
Yeah.
I've dived with people who are living with paraplegia, for instance, and yet they can outswim 90% of others I know, like with their arms. It's just unbelievable how they can propel themselves through the water. And so I think a lot of people who dive with disabilities or challenges in their life, they have to find ways around everything they do. And so it's just another expression of their creativity getting into the underwater world. But once they're beneath the surface, it's like they're free. It's all of a sudden the things that, gravity challenged them with are gone. And they're so humble and just enthralled with the opportunity to really be free again.
Yeah, it's amazing the effect that scuba has on somebody. I mean, I know for myself personally, it has getting back into diving again this time has changed my life beyond my wildest
Mm.
dreams.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
it's been amazing. I went through years of depression,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of not great stuff when I wasn't diving, and
Mm-hmm.
I actually it was a snorkeling trip in Cozumel where I actually happened to meet an adaptive diver who they sat her on the boat beside me,
Yeah.
and it's like I can do this. I
Yeah.
spent the entire time actually
Yeah.
watching her when I was snorkeling instead of paying attention to all the marine life because I was like, why did I ever give this up? I gotta at least try this again. So the next
Mm-hmm.
day I actually got into the pool and threw a tank on.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a really important point too, that it's not just physical issues that sometimes like slow us down or make things more difficult, but it's also mental health issues. And thank God we're able to talk about that a lot more openly now. But diving is incredibly powerful for mental health challenges too, like getting underwater and just getting out of your body and your mind in this incredible environment and sharing an experience with someone else is powerful. It's empowering for most people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I've had so much fun this year. I mean, doing this podcast has brought it to a whole nother level, just the
Cool.
people that I've met.
Yeah.
I've also been talking a lot with Jim Elliott from Dive Heart,
Yeah, great.
which I mean, his videos, I I actually have trouble going through them without crying.
Crying, I know we all do.
Because I
Yeah.
totally, in my case, I totally identify with it. Uh,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
amazing the impact it does, not just mentally,
Yeah.
physically. I feel way better. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, when I was in Jamaica last month diving and I actually hurt my hand, I
Yeah.
felt way better when I was diving all week. If I had access to a recompression chamber, I would probably go right now.
Well, that's really interesting because there's unbelievable, like, therapeutic, benefits from the high partial pressures of oxygen. I mean, honestly, if hyperbaric treatment was cheaper and easier to deploy, it would be a mainstay of the medical system. I recently met a guy in Europe who he had profound, third degree burns on something like 40% of his body, and diving was his life too. And he was, first A, trying to survive, but then B, thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to dive? And the doctor's like, you're going to be in the hospital for probably 6 months in ICU. And he's like, no, I'm leaving here in 6 weeks. They're like, no, you're not. And he goes, yeah, I am. And 6 weeks, to the day, he left and he started diving right away, dry suit and everything.
Wow.
And, uh, and his burns healed incredibly well. And the doctor's like, what are you doing? He said, I'm diving. And he's like, oh, crap. You know,
It's
okay, it seems to be working,
It's
mentally,
funny
physically,
how a
everything.
lot of
Yeah.
doctors actually don't even, when they're thinking about treatments, don't even think about the benefits of hyperbaric medicine, like for burns or anything.
Well, in other parts of the world, they do. Like in Bermuda, for instance, they have an amazing chamber facility, and they don't have diver traffic that needs it. So they do mostly, medical treatments for people, spinal cord injuries, for burns, for gas gangrene, for diabetics, and they chart the progress over time, like day by day photos. They have the luxury because of the socialized medical system that they have that they could treat someone for a whole year. But imagine that if you're treating someone for a whole year, like 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day, that's an incredible investment of the medical system, and it's only going to happen in a nonprofit situation. So that's why we're not going to see that happening in the United States anytime soon. But the therapeutic benefits of hyperbaric medicine are far beyond diving. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Deadfoot Diver. Subscribe and share. Your support means the world to me. If you'd like to contribute directly, you can do so at the link in the description at buymeacoffee.com/deadfootdiver. Every donation helps me work towards earning my adaptive dive buddy certification, travel costs to help me assist other adaptive divers, and covering further training and equipment costs, bringing you on even more exciting adventures. Don't forget to check out my guest links in the description. And remember, grab an adventure and live, and don't ever let a disability keep you down.